in U.S. Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't understand why this is an issue.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
Coffee, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, August 18th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. One of my favorite events we do, Bill, is the Taste of Douglas County. 23rd annual coming up this Thursday, August 21st. And we're going to be there. And the guy that's helped pull this all together, the Grand Wizard.
Okay, I was going to go Grand Poobah.
Grand Poobah.
I like Grand Poobah.
Yeah, because Grand Wizard's a bad thing, right?
A little, yeah.
Reverse.
Rewind.
The Grand Poobah. The wizard behind it all is Mike Boyle. Mike, so grateful to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us to give us a taste of Douglas County.
Yeah, what are we going to do? We're coming out with you on Thursday.
And thanks for the clarification. I can't spell wizard, let alone be called one. So I just want to make sure that.
But you would look really good in one of those Merlin hats. You'd look really good.
Yes, he would. And he's kind of the wizard. He's like putting it all on. It's fun to watch him because he just works all around the Taste of Douglas County. He's checking in with this vendor, that vendor. How's things going? Everyone having a good time? Giving people high fives. He's really in charge of all of it. It's very cool to watch.
You know what? When I started this thing, it was because Douglas County was so much smaller 23 years ago. And I went to the county and I said, we should let people know that the county has good restaurants. We really started to come into our own late 90s, early 2000. And so I started the event. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is that $10 ticket. That includes your admission, entertainment, and your food and beverages. You don't have to buy separate tickets to enjoy the food. You can't go out to lunch for $10, let alone have 30, 35 restaurants making available their products to you. And that's what's going to go on Thursday night from 5 to 8. And so I just felt like we ought to keep it reasonably priced. What can you think of anything that hasn't gone up in 20 years, Bill? Can you think of anything that hasn't gone up?
I can't think of anything. And here's the crazy part is that someone in my family recently went to kind of and we're not going to out the group, but the group had kind of an evening thing, more adult facing. It was the idea you buy the ticket, you walk in, and there's supposed to be hors d'oeuvres and the drinks and stuff, and they get in, and then they had to by drinking food tickets. And they're like, hey, we had the ticket that we bought to get in the thing, and then they had to purchase additional tickets to do the stuff they came there to do in the first place. But that's not what we do at Taste of Douglas County. That's what I love about this.
Folks, if you come Thursday night, you buy your tickets in advance for $10 at tasteofdouglascounty.com. If you're in Castle Rock, you can stop off at Grinelli's Pizza on Wilcox and pick up your tickets. But that you don't have to bring a nickel to the Taste of Douglas County to enjoy food from the View House and from Courtyard Social, My Neighbor Felix, Old North End Italian, Dickey's Barbecue. We're going to have Bill's favorite, the Gelato & Co. They will be right next door to Jeff and Bill in the KNUS tent. But there's just going to be a ton of food. We're going to have plenty of Pepsi products for people to enjoy. Bimbo Bakery is going to be there. Rock Yard Brewing Company. Bubbles Liquor World is going to have a wine table where people can sample wines from the Western Slope. We're going to have mead there. A lot of people aren't familiar with mead. Honeybrook Meadery will be there. So it really is just a fun, inexpensive. And, Bill, I appreciate when people go to the $50, $75, $100, $200 events, the pinky in the air. But that's not what this is. This is a casual evening out for not much money. And, for example, I just had some people move into my neighborhood. I walked down the street and I gave them, it's my event, I gave them tickets to the Taste of Douglas County. I said, you've just moved here. You have no idea what's going on in Castle Rock or Douglas County. come to this and learn what restaurants there are, and then you can decide if you want to go to them at your leisure.
Holy crap. Okay, I hadn't thought about that. And that's something that we had run into with one of those like farmers markets in our area recently, where there were a couple of restaurants that were up that we didn't even know they existed. I hadn't even thought about that if you are new to the area, if you're new to Douglas County, or even just within a stone's throw away, this is a great way to get in and kind of on the ground floor, sample a lot of the restaurants, see what's out there, and discover some of that new stuff. Granelli's Pizza, oh my man, they are fantastic. Not only are they great people, but that is wonderful pizza. And that meadery, the Honeybrook Meadery. I remember spending way too much time with them last year because they kept handing me free samples, and I loved it. It's really good. It's really, really good. And Bimbo Bakery always shows up and just has the stash of everything. Now, you don't recognize Bimbo normally when you're in the stores, but you're going to recognize a lot of their cakes. We walked out of there, full loaves of bread, all sorts of cupcakes and things. And again, if you are a family, Thursday evening, who really wants to make dinner? And you don't want to really run through that fast food place. You could go to our friends and do a really good job with like Black Eyed Pea, but you could also come and hang out with us at Taste of Douglas County. It's $10 per person. The kids can run around, get whatever they want, eat to their heart's content. You and maybe the significant other can wander around, also get the food. And when the kids are starting to drive you nuts, tell them to go run around in circles in the parking lot. It's okay. So there are all sorts of things you can do here, and there's lots of fun for the kids as well. Last year they were doing all sorts of neat things as well. There were also the kids running around the floors, and it's just wonderful. It's a great community event, and more than anything else, $10 through the door. All the food and drink is free. There isn't a better deal in Denver going on this week at all. This is amazing. Do not miss the Taste of Douglas County.
And if you wanted to get the tickets, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry, Jeff. When people ask how this can be pulled off, well, when you go for a run, 5K, 10K to sponsor a cause, when you enter a walk, a bicycle race, that type of stuff, it's because of sponsors. And fortunately, I've got First Bank and Pepsi and Advent Health and HBS Trash Services. And these people, they're the ones that make it possible to keep a $10 ticket to enjoy the food and beverages. So anyway, I'd love to have people come out. We've had thousands of people over the years, the 22 years that the event has gone on. But, it's just a fun evening. I know the school started, and so maybe you're just not quite as organized in the house as having food around and being ready for the next day, but it's a great event. And Jeff and Bill, I know that people just love having you guys out. They love seeing you and loving watching you. Bill, you're a schmoozer. You know that.
Yes, I am.
100%. Bill
Yes,
is
I am.
hilarious at these events. He's
so much
like
fun.
this little. He's like this little hummingbird, and
Yeah.
he just goes from one group to the next. He loves people. He's full of energy. Let's take pictures. Let's grab some food. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
It just to come see Bill makes it worth it in itself. Let
yes.
alone all the wonderful food.
I'm like a 5-year-old that someone's giving 3 espressos to. I
Yeah.
have a lot of fun.
This almost comes across as, is it too good to be true? The back of your ticket will have a $5 free crazy bread from Little Caesars in Castle Rock and Parker. When you leave with a bag from KNUS and Bimbo Bakery Treats, and when you leave with hot sauce from Danny Cash or Birkencotter or Motor, you're going to actually get more than your value after you've eaten, after you've enjoyed beverages. So let's encourage everybody to come out. It's always a fun evening.
Taste of Douglas County is this Thursday, August 21st. It's the 23rd annual. Go to tasteofdouglascounty.com, tasteofdouglascounty.com, $10. Get the tickets there. Here we go. Freddy's, Castle View Cafe, Grinnell's Pizza, Bimbo Bakeries, Home Food Services, Rockyard Brewery, Playa Bowls, Little Caesars Pizza, Old North End Restaurant, Airplane Restaurant, Tailgate Tavern and Grill, Dairy Queen, Buffalo Wild Wings, Honeybrook Meadery, Crave Real Burgers, Nothing Bunt Cakes, View House Restaurant, Safeway Deli,
That's a long list.
Sportia, 303 Sports Grill. Now, I feel like if I leave anybody off, they're going to get mad. Shake Shack, Gelato and Company, Courtyard Social, Manna, Tall Tales Coffee, Danny Cash Hot Sauce, Port of Subs, A Sweet Sip, My Neighbor Felix, Pizza Hut, I Heart Mac and Cheese, and Capriati's Sandwich Shop.
That's ridiculous.
Take a breath, Jeff.
$10.
Wow, for $10. That is incredible.
tasteofdouglascounty.com.
God. I'm gonna. Okay, now here's the thing, man. Mike Boyle, and Jeff, I got a choice here. I got to realize, am I gonna bring like the big people pants, or am I bringing the I need elastic waistband pants? I got a choice I got to make here between now and Thursday. Am I going to bring the?
Of course, elastic.
Okay, I got to go with the. I like it. Yes, I have the support from Jeff. We're going elastic waistband. That's how we're going to roll this Thursday.
Joey Tribbiani from Friends.
Yes, the Thanksgiving pants. Yes.
Well, Mike, this is going to be wonderful. We're looking forward to it. You'll see us out there. Most importantly, you see Mike Boyle.
Yes.
And you'll get to help support the community and eat great food. $10, Taste of Douglas County. Mike, thanks for the time this morning.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
I really appreciate the time as well. Thank you, guys.
All right, now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good Monday morning, 68 and sunny in Denver. I'm hungry, I don't know why. Expecting a high of 90 today. School is in session throughout the city, so drive carefully. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about Lennox equipment, more opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
You know there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you
No, it isn't. That's not why
reassure
they're
them?
coming as back. That's not true.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio on CBS's Face to the Nation, Ukrainian President Zelensky in D.C. this morning with a bunch of Euro leaders to talk about peace. DJT will lead it. Rubio with Margaret Brennan, who knows everything. Just ask her.
No, but that's not that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're
well,
not
that
coming.
February
in fact,
Oval
they're
Office
coming
meeting
here
in
tomorrow.
front of television cameras where President Zelensky
Do you know how many meetings
was
we've had
dressed
since
down.
then?
Oh, no, I know, and I was just up
Yeah,
in
but we've had
Alaska
a bunch of
watching the
meetings
one
since
with
then.
Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled
No,
out
but
for
it
the
was
Russian leader. It was
Zelensky. We've
very
had more
different.
meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire.
As early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming.
Boy, isn't that the truth? They're trying to stop people from getting killed, okay? Hello. Some Republican-led states say they're stepping up to the plate and sending more National Guard troops to D.C. The governors of Ohio, South Carolina, and West Virginia are sending hundreds of soldiers to the nation's capital to assist federal law enforcement. The DOJ is pulling back on plans to take over the D.C. police force. The administration has rescinded an earlier order that named the DEA chief Terry Cole as emergency police chief. Instead, Metro Police Chief Pamela Smith will stay in charge under Mayor Bowser. Amazing how clean and safe D.C. is this morning. Denver will begin issuing layoff notices to the city government employees today. After nearly 4 decades working for Parks and Recreation, Audra Burgos says that she and thousands of others are in limbo, not knowing if their positions are safe.
We matter, and we take these jobs not because they're the best paying jobs. We do what we do because we love what we do. I think we deserve a better Denver than that.
Affected employees will be moved to paid administration leave, retaining their salary and benefits for 30 days. Their jobs will officially end after 31 days, though medical, dental, and vision benefits will continue through September 30th. Some employees will also be eligible for severance packages that include between 2 and 8 weeks of pay. Officials say the layoffs are needed to help the city close to an estimated $250 million budget deficit over the next 2 years. MSNBC or Messy NBC will soon have a new name. The cable news network will now be known as My Source for News, Opinion, and the World. MS Now. The name change will follow NBC Universal's spinning off most of its cable channels like USA, CNBC, Sci-Fi into new publicly traded company called Versant. MS Now will be separate from NBC News. In a memo to staff Monday, Versant CEO Mark Lazara said that this will give the company the opportunity to chart itself a new path forward, or its own path forward. Good luck to them. Denver police have arrested a man for a deadly weekend 3600 block of North Quebec. Around 11 o'clock on Saturday night, a pedestrian died from injuries. 49-year-old Calisto Ortega Uribe arrested Sunday. He's being held without bond pending his next court hearing. He's back, my favorite. Former FBI Director James Comey, and as you heard Jeff and Billy talk about it earlier this morning, he was ridiculous on this post, talking about Taylor Swift. Here's part 3, the most cringe post ever in the history of mankind.
We have our jerks, millions of them, you may have noticed. In particular, there's a stunning coarseness and ugliness in the Republican Party today. It's upsetting, but it's also a minority of America. On the whole, we aren't like that, and we don't like that. I think that's a big part of the reason so few Americans support Donald Trump when they have to see him and that up close, and why Republicans are so worried about what's coming for them next year. And to be clear, I am not an advocate for weakness. Of course we need to stand up to jerks and defend what matters. But I think we have to try to do that without becoming like them, which is what makes me think about Taylor Swift. She's made clear that she sees Donald Trump for what he is. And last year she urged Americans not to make the serious mistake of electing him. Of course.
What a bozo. Golly. Sorry. I just have to. I'll play part 4 coming up next hour. Rockies over the Diamondbacks. He is a fraud. Dodgers.
I still can't believe that was the head of the FBI.
I can't.
Do you have to
either.
be weird to get to that level?
I don't
seriously, do you like if J. Edgar Hoover is apparently wearing dresses, like he was? I mean, do you just have to be a weirdo to get to that level?
Evidently, man, you would think they'd be more buttoned
like
up,
focused on crime.
Than this, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what you should. No, I cut the lawn and listened to my favorite Taylor Swift albums.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's running for freshman class president or something. My Lord. Yeah, it's bad, man. He is strange. Broncos beat the Cardinals over the weekend, 65 in Westminster, 66 in Littleton, 68 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
The Denver forecast this early Monday, a few passing clouds, temperatures around 65 by daybreak. For the rest of your Monday, plenty of sunshine with afternoon showers possible, highs near 95, lows in the lower 60s. Warm for the remainder of the week with high temperatures in the mid-90s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, big day on Friday. The world watched Donald Trump sit down with Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Let me tell you, it wasn't just some ceremonial handshake photo op. For 3 hours, the two men hammered on the future of Ukraine, NATO, and world security. Now, here's what came out of it. Putin floated the so-called peace deal. Sounds good on paper, right? But his peace means Ukraine gives up huge chunks of territory. Territory they still control. In return, Russia hands back a sliver of land that it never had much claim to in the first place. It's a little bit like a burglar offering to return your toaster if you let him keep the rest of the house. Trump, for his part, didn't cave, but he didn't close the door either. He emphasized that it's ultimately Ukraine's decision while pushing forward, and this is a big one, this one gets me a little bit, a new idea, an Article 5 style security guarantee. That's the NATO principle. An attack on one is an attack on all without actually giving Ukraine NATO membership. For the first time, Putin even hinted he'd accept those guarantees. That's huge. But the fine print still unwritten. European leaders are heading to Washington today. Zelensky's going to be there too. According to the White House, this is the largest gathering of European leaders at the White House ever. They're going to test whether these guarantees are real protection or just paper promises. Meanwhile, Russia's still demanding recognition of Crimea, no NATO membership ever, and softer sanctions. The stakes are clear. Will this be a step towards peace or just Putin testing how much he can squeeze? Trump calls it progress. Ukraine calls it unacceptable. And America's role as deal maker or deal enforcer is right at the center. So let's break it down. Who's winning, who's losing, and what does it mean for America's strength on the world stage? Bill, you watched it Friday after the show. What'd you think of it?
I'm worried that Trump is allowing Putin to lead, is probably my number one reaction. What I'm worried about, again, there are a couple of things based on how this is going. If you were looking at trying to get this thing settled and you were looking out for the best interest of your ally, my guess would be, one, you would have a meeting with the ally first or try to include them in the conversation with the opponent. But we didn't do that. However, doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. I would love to have a game plan of what do we think we want. We think they're going to come with this. What about it? But I can see the idea of going to the other person first and saying, now, this is what they want. What do you think? And having that reaction. So I can see that. What I'm really worried about is that it seems that we're trying to figure out how we can end this with Russia having the win. And that's what really, really worries me, is we seem to be trying to encourage Putin's bad behavior, or at least allow it. And again, we've talked about this over and over again, my number one problem with Barack Obama, and this will surprise a lot of people because a lot of people have a lot of other issues, is the fact that he just looked at Russia walking into Crimea and went, meh, okay, whatever. That was weakness. That was acquiescence. That was allowing the bully to get control on the playground. And to me, that was intolerable. That to me, I lay the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine conflict at the feet of Barack Obama, not at Trump, not at Biden. This started under Barack Obama because he didn't have the testicular fortitude to stand up to Vladimir Putin. And you've pointed out a number of times him making fun of Mitt Romney about, Russia's just, what are you so worried about? It's China. No. Look at what Russia's done. China's not invaded a damn person. They want Taiwan, sure. But yeah, Russia, Mitt was right. Russia is an issue, and Barack handled it poorly. And what I worry about is that we have given Vladimir Putin, given everything he wants. I mean, he's not going to take the whole country, but he's going to get pieces of it. And I'm hearing in the negotiations that one of the things he wants is a guarantee from Ukraine that they'll never join NATO. don't know why in the hell they'd ever agree to that. They should join NATO because part of the reason that they're getting invaded right now is because they're not part of NATO. If they were part of NATO, they wouldn't be invaded. That's the issue. So there's part of it. I don't know.
What do you? I think this is an important distinction.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from our listeners. So feel free to give us a call. Is the end game here to win the war or end the war?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because that makes a big difference in your strategy, right?
Yeah, I like that question.
So if you're going to win the war, you must defeat Russia and go all in an effort to do so to get them to basically acquiesce and surrender. We're done. Or Russia wins the war by taking all of Ukraine, or to a point where America goes, all right, and Europe goes, you win, we'll give you what you want. Or is it end the war? And if it's end the war, are you going to have to negotiate terms that all sides don't like? And I'll tell you, the most concerning thing to me about what happened on Friday is this Article 5 security arrangement.
Yeah. What way?
I don't want my sons to fight in Ukraine. I am not interested in that at all. At all. After what, and could just be my generation going through Afghanistan and Iraq, I don't want them fighting in Afghanistan or in Iraq either. I'm tired of it. I am tired of us sacrificing our sons and daughters for faraway places that have no real impact on this country.
Got a question for you on that one. Now, I can see that. Now, here's the idea. Now, I'm not sure if it's a fair question, but something you were saying there kind of sparked something in my mind. And so I've got kind of a question, it's just off the top of my head, that prior to the election, one of the things that we heard about was that there are no wars under Donald Trump because he's so strong, because everybody else around the world knows that if you mess around with the U.S., ooh, you're going to get it. But what I'm hearing from you is something 180 degrees different, that we don't want to get involved in these international conflicts. We don't want to send our troops elsewhere. We don't want to give it to someone that is stepping out of line. That's what I'm hearing. Is I heard a lot of from the group that supported MAGA and Donald Trump, it was about the strength and that we were rebuilding the American military because it had been denigrated. And now it was Pete Hegseth, they wanted warriors, the warrior culture. Grrr. And now what I'm hearing is the one thing we don't want are the warriors.
I don't see them as mutually exclusive.
Okay.
I think they're linked because I want a strong military. I absolutely want a strong military, and the way that we had it under Biden and Obama is this weird woke agenda, right? Where we're talking about transgender troops as opposed to a strong military and the number of ships that we're building. I want America to absolutely have the fiercest, most intimidating military in the entire world, 100%. I do not want that used to go fight for somebody else. I just don't get it. And after Afghanistan and Iraq, where we spent billions of dollars, not trillions of dollars, but at least billions of dollars, and sacrificed people, including friends that I grew up with, for some godforsaken piece of sand in Iraq. That makes me angry. I'm tired of it. I don't want our sons and daughters being used for other countries' agendas.
But Jeff, remember that during that Iraq war, it was about the safety and the security of the U.S. Remember? We were told.
I get it. I get that's why it was sold, but it wasn't at the end of the day.
It was about the idea of the mushroom cloud over there and the mushroom cloud here.
Right, the weapons of mass destruction.
That was the argument.
Right, and that's why I'm so suspicious of this. And frankly, while I'm a huge DJT fan, you know that, I'm a big man. Yeah. This Article 5 security requirement, I'm looking at that going, all right, if we ended the war, I'm torn on this.
Yeah.
I don't want this war to continue. It's so stupid, and it doesn't affect us. All right, but it's important, and I appreciate the president. And Marco Rubio, I watched on all the Sunday shows. He's exactly right. The president's made this. It's not a war he started. He's putting a lot of effort to trying to solve it. I appreciate that, okay, because I think there's innocent people dying in these borderlands. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. So can we figure it out, and does it require us to have to get into some Article 5-like security arrangement with Ukraine? Oh, man, I just hate being legally required to send our sons and daughters to go defend another country.
Got a question on that one.
I just don't like it, man.
Here's the question I've got for you. We know Russia wants Ukraine, and they have said through some surrogates and also through their State Department that they have designs on other countries in Eastern Europe. Part of what Putin wants to do is reassemble as much of the USSR as he could. That's kind of a long-term goal. So we know that's kind of sitting in the background. The question I have for you is, do you think it is more or less likely for Russia to invade Ukraine a second time if they have Article 5 protection or if they don't? Where do you think that it's more likely for Russia to invade?
Yeah, that's a good question. And look, Bill, Bill's manning the phone lines here. If you want to give us a call, join the conversation, 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. I want to ask you this question personally, because I think it's important to understand. Right? So if Putin is this really bad guy, right? Like terrible guy that wants to take over Europe.
Yeah.
Why not just assassinate him?
Well,
we do this with other bad leaders all the time. We drop a missile right on them. Take him out. We're done.
We don't do that all the time with other leaders necessarily.
But why? But if he's like this really scary figure, right? That's going to take over all of Europe, and we have to stop him. Why not?
And the thing is that remember, that's how Putin operates. That if you're an opponent of me, I'm just going to assassinate you. I'm going to poison you.
Yeah,
I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you out. I'm going to push you out a window, or I'm going to blow up your plane at certain times. And so the idea being, let's just assassinate him. You're going back into the old State Department, and in fact, the old, and I'll use the air quotes, deep state, where the CIA and the FBI were trying to take out leaders of other countries through all sorts of surreptitious means. It doesn't make us any better. And the idea then being that we are right because we will just kill your leader if you don't agree with us. In fact, that's part of what got us into the problem with Iran. Is part of that issue.
Yeah, the Shah and all that. But,
so that's part of it. So the idea that we're doing it.
We're going to get. So what are the options? I mean, we're just going to allow this war to continue for years and years in a weird, bizarre stalemate, send billions of dollars to it, but never really get involved in it. Or Putin's just going to press through and take all this land and all of Europe, and Europe's got to deal with it. I mean, it seems like we're closer to peace than ever. And I'm going to go back to this question. What is the point of all of it? Is it to win the war or to end the war? Do you trust Putin when he says he wants peace? Should Ukraine give up land in exchange for security guarantees?
Now, that's the question is, what about those security guarantees? And I really want to point to those because those security guarantees, in my mind, are incredibly important because Ukraine gave up all of their nuclear missiles to get security guarantees. How's that worked out? They've lost Crimea, and now they're looking at giving up Donbass, and we're talking about giving up more land. So when we expect them to say, oh, we will end this for a security guarantee, we already shook their hand, looked them in the eye, and said, you give this up, and we guarantee your security, and we betrayed them. So why do we expect them to have a handshake with us and say that we're going to... Yes, yes.
When they billions of dollars have been spent on this.
When they were invaded under Barack Obama, we betrayed them. We guaranteed their safety and security. We betrayed that agreement. And I lay that at the feet at the beginning of Barack Obama. Biden and Trump also continued this crap. but we told them, you give up one of the largest nuclear arsenals on the planet, and we promise and secure your safety, and we betrayed that. So why would they look us in the eye and shake our hand again? Why would they ever believe us?
We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Summer is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once-a-year summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. There's absolutely no one I trust more than Dr. Tanya Pauls and her team at Advanced Hair. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time, so get the details. Schedule your free consultation today. 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results with Advanced Hair. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and take advantage of their best offer ever. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com. Ben, Frank, you'll be up next. We got one open line. Join the conversation. Oh, someone's dialing in right now. Get on it, 303-696-1971. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Are we on the verge of peace between Ukraine and Russia? What did you think of that gathering with Putin in Alaska on Friday? Is the goal to win the war? Is the goal to end the war? And how does that change your perspective on negotiating a truce here? Let's go to the phone lines. Ben Morrison. Good morning, Ben. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so Trump kind of got pulled behind the woodshed and slapped around like a little third-grade girl on that negotiation. Putin got pretty much everything he wanted out of it, and we didn't really get a whole lot. And there are some methods and stuff that we can do that don't even necessarily require like Article 5 that would be beneficial to both us and Ukraine in the long term. And I think eventually Ukraine is probably going to have to give some sort of territory at this point. But what we're doing right now is we're lying on our back and giving Putin pretty much everything he wants. So Putin's winning this argument right now.
Help me understand what you would want Trump to do to Putin.
Well, first of all, he's giving him a large delay on any sanctions that are going to be coming forward. So there's a delay in tariffs now. So Putin basically has free reign to just keep going and doing what he wants to do. So I would close that off and say, no, we're not going to do that.
So tougher sanctions?
Tougher sanctions. Absolutely tougher sanctions.
And over the weekend, Rubio said, we do that, we lock in for another year and a half of this war.
I don't think Putin is coming in with good intentions. I think he walked away basically looking for a delay tactic, and that's what he got.
But what Rubio's saying is if we're trying to negotiate an end to this war, and if we walk in and level what they call second-level sanctions, it's likely going to extend it for another year and a half. It's not a move towards peace.
Yeah, but you're coming in with the misconception that Putin's arguing in good faith and coming in with a good faith in his negotiations. I don't think he has any intention of, trying to stop. So you have to really, really squeeze the hammer on him and say, no, there are consequences to this. If you are going to keep doing this, keep pushing through. They just bombed a civilian apartment building within the last 24 hours. They're still hitting civilian targets. So I don't think, we've looked at in advance. This year has been one of the most deadly years under Trump since the war started. They've been pushing more and more people in there, trying to really, really advance things more than they ever have. So what this is a lot of it's a delay tactic where we own this. We own like 30% of this territory, but maybe if we can stall him, we can go in and get another, 30% of it. Now we own 2/3 of it, and they'll just keep moving because ultimately Russia is the bigger military. They will, in the long term, win that war without some intervention from EU or the US or something. I mean, Ukraine does not have the military might to stand up to Russia. We all know that. So, but that's what Putin is relying on.
So
and that's what he's doing.
In your mind, though, Ben, just to be clear, you want stronger, more aggressive push against Russia by the United States in the hope that pressure would lead to a peace deal.
Yes, I want that. And then what I want eventually is some sort of ceasefire that may come out of that where we really, really hammer them really, really hard economically, because Russia's not doing great economically right now. They're suffering pretty badly, but that's one of the things when you're an autocracy is you don't really have to care about your civilians, and you don't have to care about like if you're going to get voted in next election because, Putin's going to be basically kind of dictator for life. So
yeah, I mean, I think the position you have is that a stronger push, a more aggressive United States at this point will somehow force Russia to the table in order to negotiate a peace. Rubio over the weekend saying that would likely continue the current stalemate that we're in for another year and a half. So we'll have to see. Appreciate the call, Ben. We got a lot of calls to get to. Ben's line will be open. 303-696-1971 is the line. Let's go to Frank Denver. Good morning, Frank. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Morning, guys. Thanks for your discussion. One of the most hopeful things that I saw or revealed out of this conference to me was the 100 business persons that came on the plane with Putin, because what that to me represented was the non-totalitarian fraction of Russia that would like to do business with U.S. and the rest of the world. And I think those people, most of the Russians actually are probably pretty nice people, the ones I've met over here certainly. Obviously they're under this totalitarian rule, just like China. But I think there's hope if Putin could either be waited out or negotiated with without doing too much damage. And I think the ultimate demise of Putin is either going to be death, disability, disease, or coup. And I think if time can be bought without too much human sacrifice, and I think that's what Trump is really trying to go for. He's just disgusted with the death and destruction, and I think that's a thing that Putin is trying to leverage. But really, the Russians do have a potential part to play in this whole economic world, just as China does. I've always said that the westernization of the world is the only hope of the world, because if you got citizens or people around all over in Russia, China, Iran, carrying boom boxes and listening to Western music or Beatles music, that they're going to be less likely to wage war. I think given the choice, they would prefer to do that. So that's my 2 cents on it, and it's all kind of short-term, small-term intercessions that we must try to make without trying to provoke a big worldwide conflict.
I mean, it's an important distinction. Do you want Russia to surrender, or do you want Russia to end the war? And are those different in how you approach?
I definitely want them to end the war, but I think that that's all they've got right now, and I think that the showing up of these business people just showed their desire to try to want commerce with the rest of the country, because that's the ultimate survival of Russia and of all these countries, is to get along, to do what they've got is their strength. Russia has petroleum resources and other kind of rare earths and lots of other different minerals. I mean, they're already engaged in that all over Siberia and everywhere in Russia. But China has labor. So all these best things that you bring to the table for the benefit of the world are what's the best outcome for all these things. But getting our politicians to negotiate that is the hard part.
Yeah, Frank, and I appreciate the phone call. I like what you're saying there. The problem that I have is that we are trusting, as Ben said last time, trusting Russia is coming to the table with genuine motivations. I understand that they brought over 450 or some odd people with the Russian contingent, hundreds and hundreds of journalists. Do we really believe that all of them were journalists, given the past history of Russia? Do we believe that all of those business people that Frank had talked about coming over with Vladimir Putin were really interested in making investments and doing business with the U.S.? Or was it Vladimir Putin and his thugs saying, yeah, I got your granddaughter. You don't come with me. You don't put on a good face with the Americans. She's dead. And then we'll work our way up the family. I mean, at what point's the motivation? Because you know that he has absolute control inside of that country, and yet we still are assuming he's coming to the table with genuine concerns and genuine wishes towards peace. He wants the whole country. We know that. And playing around and thinking that anything else is a folly. And it means that he already has the advantage. If we don't understand his end result and goal is to have most of the rest of the Eastern Europe, then we're missing the point, and he is going to fleece us every time we sit at the table.
We're talking Trump, we're talking Putin, we're talking Europe as European leaders gather in Washington, D.C. today. Do you think Trump is playing this right? Tough negotiator? or too close to Putin? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us at 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking Trump, we're talking Putin, we're talking European leaders meeting in Washington, D.C. today. And in fact, I've got this good from the White House. 12 p.m., European leaders arriving at the White House. 1 o'clock, the president greets President of Ukraine. This is all Eastern time, so subtract 2 hours. They're going to have a bilateral meeting. He's going to greet European leaders. They're going to participate in a photo op, and they're going to discuss in a multilateral meeting all afternoon. I mean, this is a full day for President Trump trying to get peace done. What do you think? Let's go to Aaron, Denver. Good morning, Aaron. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Well, I had to agree with Bill, because the thing is, though, Putin looks at NATO just a bunch of suckers, really. And the thing is, it's not about winning the war. It's just ending it. because the thing is, though, Putin, being the even though he is truly a war criminal. He's a scumbag. But the thing is, though, Trump said it to Lewinsky when they had the meeting in the White House. Russia holds all the cards. They always had they always held the cards. They had the bigger military. They're getting help from North Korea. North Korea is sending troops to help them fight against Ukraine. So the key. Trump is trying to, as diplomacy, aka talking. It's good that he talked to Putin in Alaska. But the thing is, though, Putin knows that, hey, I hold all the cards. Period. And the thing is, though, Bill was right. It started with Obama letting Russia take Crimea. And the thing is, though, history, in Jeff, I'm sure you're a student of history. History always finds a way to repeat itself.
Aaron,
it
sure
does seem to repeat
appreciate
itself,
it.
man. Thanks for calling,
thanks for the call. Aaron's line will be open. We'll continue. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
710 KNUS.